Next up, we're going to be inviting IBM to come up. As I mentioned, they're co-sponsoring our user group, but more importantly, really wanted to have Jeff Yamamoto, who is tightly partnered with DDN, both in the field as we architect solutions for our customers, as well as we work with IBM engineering on long-term roadmaps related to how we're going to tie our technologies together. I wanted to have Jeff talk a little bit about the partnership, as well as the future roadmap on Spectrum Scale. So Jeff.
Thank you for the intro, Molly. My name again is Jeff Yamamoto. I'm with IBM. My position is a worldwide business development manager, and I'm based out of Toronto, Canada. So what I want to talk today is about, first of all, the slide before is said, you probably are more familiar with GPFS, the name GPFS, but that has been changed to Spectrum Scale, so I just want to preface that with that, because I'll be using that name all along. So the partnership that we have with DDN has been almost 9 years, and it's been very, very strategic. And I'll get into it later, but what DDN does is they bundle Spectrum Scale or GPFS into the grid scaler hardware. And it's optimized even more with various customization and integration that's being done by DDN vis-a-vis between the appliance and the Spectrum Scale. So things like tiering to the WAS object storage, performance enhancements, and there's a lot of value-add features that are being done. So the point here is that we are, as Molly said, we are very, very strategic in terms of partnership. DDN is not just reselling a software. They are tightly integrated in terms of technical partnership and, of course, marketing partnership. Now, some of the examples here, as you see in the bottom, DDN has provided systems in production of over 30 petabytes and production cluster as big as 10,000 plus nodes and speed as much as or greater than 400 gigabyte per second. So pretty impressive metrics and performance numbers with Grid Scaler that uses Spectrum Scale. Okay, so before we get into Spectrum Scale, just a little plug from the IBM side. We have 6 different storage software products. It ranges from data management to reduce costs, to Spectrum Protect, which is the old Tivoli Storage Manager that does backup, archiving, virtualizing mixed environments. Accelerate does deployment to the cloud and using the cloud as a storage. So Spectrum Scale is a file system, as you may be aware, and it does a lot more than just high performance. So I'll get into that in a few minutes. History on Spectrum Scale. It's been almost 23 years since the actual first launch of, back then was called GPFS. And as you can see, it's a little bit small, but we've made a lot of improvements to the product. But the point I want to make here is from around GPFS 3.1, which is around 2006, up until that point, and it still, of course, continues today, it was mainly geared towards HPC. And from 2006 onwards, what we've done is provide enterprise features on top of the HPC features that we already have. So what's great about that for the HPC customers, such as yourself, is that we now support Hadoop workloads, OpenStack, object storage through Swift, and to Amazon S3. So what you're getting is a total end-to-end data management and file system. If you're going to, essentially what we're doing is enterprising, making a hardened file system for use for your production environment. So again, point of this slide, long history, extremely mature, high performance. And this is what GridScaler is leveraging. Now this picture here gives you the unified storage. I think it provides you with a good general overview of what GridScaler is doing with Spectrum Scale. So if you look at the bottom, I think we can start at the bottom. What Spectrum Scale does, it unifies all kinds of storage, whether it be flash, spinning disk, it could be tape archives, share nothing, or even cloud. And we support WAS also on the private cloud side. And in terms of protocols, we've got all those protocols on the left side. We support OpenStack and, of course, Object. Now, all this is now presented as a single global namespace to the apps that are being used by customers such as yourself. So from client workstation to new-gen applications like Hadoop and Spark, or for customers using clusters. So all they're seeing is a single global namespace. It doesn't matter where the data resides. It shows up very easily and also in high performance, and it doesn't have to be local. It could be remote. So this is a very high-level overview of what it does. Now, I'm not going to go into each features of Spectrum Scale because it's quite a lot. What I want to identify are the differentiators. You're very familiar with all different kind of file system. I think other file system does each one of these separately as a product. But my point here is that Spectrum Scale does all those things in one product. And what I identified in red are the differentiators. So we've got a new GUI, which I'll show you later on, all these things. We've got a quality of service management. AFM, DDN has to be very, very active in AFM for deployments. We've got encryption now with secure erase. And as I mentioned earlier, we got the file object unified with OpenStack and Swift, with Swift and S3. And we have integration with cloud. So this is an example of the GUI, a little bit blurry, but what it shows is the health of the nodes, of the storage nodes. Even things like what are the most active nodes by CPU usage, the the public network throughput. So all that information is now available in a single pane of glass. QoS, in a nutshell, what this is that there might be routine maintenance stacks that are going on in the cluster, such as policy execution, the snapshot management, and data might be rebalancing everywhere. So all that uses a lot of I/O. So what QoS does is to limit that to a certain IOPS number, and that increases the application I/O capability. So that's QoS. AFM, a very, very important point here. As I said earlier, DDN has been putting a lot of work with AFM, putting in a lot of customization, optimization. So what this does is it locally caches all the data in different locations, no matter where you are in the world. So what that means is, let's say if you're in Paris and you have data from New York, that data from New York is actually residing in Paris. So you got that local latency. So very, very fast. So therefore, you're not limited by the actual geography of where your data resides. It's all in one global namespace, no matter where the location is. Also, we have asynchronous disaster recovery. So, any kind of a failover or failback, we got the data integrity all maintained. It's high availability. So again, DDN has put a lot of effort into this. The next thing I want to talk about is native encryption. So this is something that's part of the advanced Spectrum Scale product. And of course, a lot of the customers require certain compliance to security. And we've addressed that by making it compliance to NIST, FIPS, HIPAA, Sarbanes-Oxley, etc. So this is one of the new things that we have incorporated in Spectrum Scale. I've already talked about the file object in out. So an example of this is, let's say a challenge that you have is you want to create an object store, but traditionally you would do that in an independent traditional silo of an object store. And that's kind of a waste of space because it's just used for that purpose. So what Spectrum Scale does is it incorporates that object store as part of the whole data storage resource. if you recall in the overall view, it doesn't matter whether it's flash or spinning disk. Now you got object store as one of that resource. So essentially, it provides an enterprise capability of object store in that whole pool of resources. So transparent cloud tiering. I think Alex covered part of this also, but it's a very, very important fact that you're not just using the on-premise resources for storage. These days, customers can now burst to the cloud or store in the cloud. And what we're providing with Spectrum Scale with GridScaler is access to public cloud, such as S3 and any other object storage type. For private cloud, we have, as I said earlier, it supports WAS. So again, same situation as that Swift object store advantage. You got cloud as another data resource, which is just part of the whole pool of data accessibility all around the world. The two things that you got to remember about Spectrum Scale, the word that you have to remember, is this keyword, store everywhere. So you can put your data anywhere you want in the world, and you can run it anywhere from the world. So this is really the two key words here that what the actual product does. These are some of the examples of our customers who's using Spectrum Scale, and what I want to show you here is the performance metrics of when they put it in real life situation, how it performs. So Nuance Communication, they're a customer based out of Massachusetts. They use IVR, so voice recognition. So I'm sure you've called into different, for example, phone companies, and they'll say, what would you like to know or what would you like to do? Based on that, they route you to the correct department. So if you say billing, it goes to billing. So that type of technology is being used by Nuance. So Nuance used Spectrum Scale, and what it did was, first of all that IVR data needs to be stored, and it actually provided 20% boost in storage performance. And the 20 million job is what's actually being put through per month. Cypress, which is EDA, Electronic Design Automation. So this is, I guess, a traditional HPC kind of workload, where you got millions of jobs going in, and increase the performance by 10x. Life Sciences, nearly terabyte of data per patient. You've got 65,000 patients with all the images. That's all got to be stored somewhere. Tremendous performance increase. Financial services, same thing. So these are all proven real-life examples that leverages Spectrum Scale and the capability to scale and provide high performance. So summary, as I started off in the beginning of the presentation, we have a very, very strong partnership with DDN. And as I said, DDN Scalar is not just hardware that we just stick the software on. DDN have customized, optimized extensively, especially on the FM side, and moving forward, they're going to be providing more technical direction also to us and work directly to actually provide a really symbiotic relationship in terms of an optimized solution for GridScaler. So, if there's any, if you have any questions at all, I've got my technical person here also. So after the user group or during the conference, please let us know, and we'll provide you more details. Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity.